The American Railroad is the one great wonder of the world and the highest living testament to human ingenuity. The rails are the incantation of a choral poem and the invention that gave birth to the known world. Before the railroad, great distances could be traveled only by sea. Restless spirits and vagabonds were stuck living in the biblical era. Over time, our rail system evolved into an organic being. The collective energy of human experience breathes life into places and things. This is why objects in rooms hold memories. There are ghosts in the walls, and artifacts have the residue of spirits. True freedom demands great sacrifice, and that's why there are few who are truly free. Only the freight train riders have experienced life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The American dream in all its tarnished glory and rude appetites. I am Scruff Dog, a.k.a. Travis Gaines. My brother is Cashman, a.k.a. Luther Gaines. Cash is only 3 years my senior, and yet as kids, we lived under the same roof for just 4 years. That was thanks to some court bullshit and the psychiatric system with all its trapdoors and invisible prisons. Yes, my mom was crazy and also had a knack for picking out the biggest shithead in town and taking him into her bed and her body. Luther walked like he had clouds under his feet. I used to think he was some kind of supernatural being, but now I know the truth. We are all supernatural beings, but only a few of us can experience a spiritual state while they have a physical form. That was Luther. He was magnetic. Even if you don't believe in spirits, it's a fact that he carried around a golden light. He attracted good fortune, money, and women. Never wanted to go legit, though, and can't say I blame him. When I heard that he had gone to Kansas City by stowing away on a train, I had to follow his path. My brother Luther and I have always had parallel spirits. Mom used to say that one spark broke off from the corner of a star's light, and that spark was the keynote that awakened us from the duat, the room in the underworld where souls come to rest, waiting to be born. Now the signal from his beacon light has faded, by weather's churn, by distance or worse. His apparitions are obscured with blankets of static, like the faraway sounds of AM radio at night. I traveled for many miles to visit with our leader, Blackjack. He is the sovereign ruler over all us midnight travelers, although he believes that we are a people without a king. Think of me as a prime minister, he would say. That's like president in England, but more humble. Blackjack had a potion that could be used as the key to a spirit walk. It was some kind of psychedelic moonshine. They say you have to lose your mind to grow wise. We all know there is more than what can be seen. Of course there are hidden doors, but where are they, and what is behind them? What if insanity just means you can decipher the cryptographic icons and enchanted symbols? My brother, I carry this lantern through the clouds. Where are you? I met up with Blackjack and Railroad Annie just outside the Union Pacific Yard in San Antonio, location of my brother's last known sighting. Annie was a rare being. She was in this train rider's life as opposed to most women who by their nature are not given to rambling. I always respected her, especially because she carried a sharp knife and didn't take shit from anybody. Once some forlorn rummy tried to kiss her, and wouldn't you know it, Annie poked him like she was cutting flank steak. Word got around quick. Annie's not looking for a boyfriend, or at least if she is, you let her ask first. As far as her name, it was a so-called joke based on her being some kind of orphan. I say some kind because many of us are orphans by choice, and there's still a buck or a doe out there somewhere, even if it's in prison or one of those nice independent living apartments, mental institutions in disguise. We built a fire and shared mulligan stew with liquor and cigarettes, and we talked about back when the world was young and our limbs could all swing loose without the residue of any hard-earned wisdom. Then we sang the old hobo anthem, "The Land Belongs to All," with a harmonica and a backpack ukulele. Railroad bull in Santa Fe, trespass warrant 30 days. Judge, you must dismiss this bust. Rails belong to all of us. No mortal man may own the land. The ladle's passed from hand to hand. Share the pork when times are high, and you'll have whiskey by and by. Blood and breath define our worth. All belongs to Tellus Mater, goddess of the earth. We sprinkled the shamanic medicine on some pipe tobacco, and soon, by the path of smoke, I could leave my body and join Luther's spirit. Now I know some will say there is no magic, and all we have is what's real. They have no idea what it means to have a brother who can speak to you in dreams, who can write you a letter and send it across the oceans and tell you all the secrets behind his masquerade life without ever putting any of it down on paper. And then when you see him in person, he can verify every word. That is a lot more than just a brother's intuition. There are unknown energies in the universe that hold together everything. And even the doubters and skeptics all seem to agree. How often do they summon their gods just to ask for a spell of protection? I am the one who can see in the dark to find my brother, whether he is in the underworld at the nexus of the 5 rivers, or just holed up in a motel on the outskirts of Maricopa until some shit blows over. That was part 1 of I Will Follow Your Spirit Path on the Rails and Into the Sky, short fiction by Scott Hughes. This is part 2, Cashman. A town has a way of letting you know when it's time to hit the road. That's what San Antonio had been telling me for 3 years, but finally I listened. I had been doing some runs for this Mexican group. They are called the Lopez Brothers, although I never met anybody by that name. Not that I know of, at least. The operation involved moving some goods as a passenger on a Greyhound. To be that passenger, I needed to adopt a specific persona, the strange wanderer, the road hermit who takes the bus just because it's cheaper than renting a room. Harmless, slightly pungent, barely verbal. San Antonio to Chicago and back again, over and over, tempting the odds in the hope that my strange presentation was in that middle range where decent people would look away and let me be. Had the Lopez group already used this profile a dozen times? Was I the new middle-aged white lady on an airplane? There is a world that appears lawless to outsiders, but actually has a complicated set of internal rules. The art of camouflage involves using the shroud of darkness in the daylight. You have to be and stay invisible and anonymous to switch up your patterns and habits before they become predictable. Most importantly, get paid and get out of the gambling hall before the house odds catch up to you. The problem with planning to stay hidden and work only intermittently is that my cartel associates did not exactly love the idea of a retired ex-employee walking around alive, holding a satchel of incriminating memories. In all my dealings with this group, I never wanted to cause any problems that cost more than the price of a bullet. After every run, the next few days would kind of disappear. I'd get some nice clothes, check into hotels, and eat and drink until my debit cards all started getting declined. When you go by the name Cashman, you have to know a thing or two about money. Here's what I have learned. Money is only worth making and having if you can spend it when you want to, not when you need to. I have never needed a steady supply of money just to get by. So when I have some cash in my pocket, it means good things are going to happen, and soon. I can stay on the 99th floor one night and the next under a bridge. I have learned to enjoy luxuries without remorse. No regrets in the morning. If only I was a responsible square living in the suburbs, etc., etc. Did you ever steal a piece of candy when you were a little snot-nosed kid? I guarantee it was sweeter. The truth you learn early on in life gets poured into your foundation. I first became Cashman when I found out you need to love the good times because they don't last forever. I was living that lush, Great Gatsby life when I met this real fine uptown lady at the hotel bar. We sang to each other like nightingales, without pretense, the unabashed lyric of woman and man. Did you ever sleep in the woods and listen to the late-night songbirds, how their lusts and hopes made a grand, simple, ancient promise? In the morning, she asked if I felt like I was falling in love with her. I said that men and women should never fall in love. It is too dangerous. It can only cause pain. She said, men and women have to fall in love. It is the way of the world. And the pain that follows, that is when love acts like a ray of light that bends and changes shape as it passes through a prism. But you want to stand in front of that prism and capture the light before it's dispersed. I know your type all too well. You're not afraid of falling in love. You're afraid of watching its colors change. I'm calling the cops on you because I am more than just one ray of light, asshole. I am a spectrum. I am every color of the rainbow and those in between that have never been named. She stormed out and slammed the door. I waited 9 minutes and then I left as well. Down the stairs and into a basement where industrial laundry machines rinsed and spun thousands of pounds of towels and sheets, and then into the alley where trucks made deliveries. A town has its way. Once the local judge sees that you have a freight train rider's patch, you're never getting bail. They will say, we believe you are a flight risk. Of course I am. Who wouldn't fly if they could? Who wouldn't want to be free? The cartel boys were having problems with me as well. They accused me of embezzlement and said that I owed them a bunch of money, all of which had long since disappeared. They acted like I was treasurer for some proper charity and had to scrupulously account for every dollar. Truth is, in this crazy life, the money was moving like water in a flood. My business colleagues had been in radio silence mode for 6 days before I finally left. Their ominous silence meant they had closed the books. All that was left, 2 bullets in the back of the head. When they're on American soil, it's nothing fancy or extravagant, just business. That second shot guarantees there won't be a lucky victim who survives by a simple twist of fate. 2 shots, and then you are among the forgotten, anonymous dead. I know it sounds crazy to get on the bad side of men with guns. Did you know that the best of us have learned magic to survive? I became a shapeshifter who escapes by trickery. Let me explain. We have adapted to survive the railroad bull named Grayson. He has haunted us through time. As far back as the 1920s, he stalked the train riders. Some were stabbed or pushed out of moving cars, but his preferred method is the bludgeon. It has always been Grayson. He is killed but never faced charges. We always suspected that just like an army man, he was given immunity from the law. Grayson treats us like hogs, except that unlike the farm animal, we have awareness and expectancy. When you imagine terror, the pain is more thorough when it finally lands. The moment of shock and surprise is replaced with something deeper, gravity and permanence. And you can bet those railroad sons of bitches know this too. And how does that make them feel? You guessed it. Excited. I took the westbound train from San Antonio, the Union Pacific Sunset Line. That night I drank and let the tracks lull me to sleep like a baby. Then I woke up in the San Bernardino Mountains near Cajon Pass. The first dry light was draped across the great open west where vagabonds and misfits built their own kingdom. All of the banished, drifters, bums, tramps, exiles, and wanderers came to rest here. I have been high and low across the West, and as a shapeshifter, I am at home all the same in luxury and squalor. Did you know that the great and noble are actually more sinister than the wanted man who is facing charges? Those in high esteem all swoon with joyous physical ecstasy over their dirty secrets and undiscovered crimes. Meanwhile, the beggar filches beef and carrots for his empty stew pot. Although the route was called sunset, it was actually the mid-morning western sunrise that I had always wanted to see here. In the fall, around 9 a.m., as the 45-degree morning light makes shadows fade. Rise, western sun. Show me the trail that was made by all the fugitives who built this artificial kingdom. The greatest story ever made out here. A new identity. Absolution. Or at least a records purge. Light the way to the land of the California princess. Equal halves, innocent and savvy, always looking, carrying her innate strength of sight, awareness, sensation. I realized this mountain vista could be the opening scene for a movie about a man on the run who finds a woman made of tarnished gold. Refugees from a bad childhood, they take sanctuary in the dark, small hours. Songbirds of the Pacific, 3 a.m. and the dirty, sweet paganism of touch. That was my imagined destiny. The strange morning revelations that appear when you are ragged from drink and full of piss. Sweet relief from the pressure and pain as I watered the valley below. However, my fates took a sudden turn along with a bend in the track. I staggered on that turn and lost my way. When you fall a great distance, that memory is lost, a so-called act of mercy. I remember everything that happened before and since. For 36 years, I was an organic, flesh and blood entity. What a miracle that we were ever here at all. Earth is a beautiful, degenerate's playground in the midst of an otherwise vacant universe. Born from nothing, I found a land of crooked mansions. They let me stay there for a while. That one last morning, I saw my spirit animal following the train from above in the air. Red-tailed hawk, the distinguished scavenger. We have lost touch with the world of primitive magic and all its cryptic puzzles. The fortune tellers and the penny arcade. Sinister grand illusions. From the skulls of Jericho to the vaudeville stage. And you may wonder now just where I have gone. If we are remembered, if we leave footprints on the earth, isn't that close enough to heaven? Do we need more? Let the whistle sound on every westbound train. What is a ghost but a memory that fades? I wonder if the stars are all clear tonight. When you have a strong drink in the sunset, it feels warm in your gut, like promises kept. If only I could walk the tracks into the dark, I would lay down between earth and sky. I'd carry a light pack and find soft ground under the trees. Truth be told, I was the best of them all.